Hey, Nate, are you on?
Yes, we have a couple of customers on as well.
Okay, great. Just wanted to make sure can you confirm what you see on my screen? Is it the full screen?
Yes, it is the full screen. Thank you.
Great, thanks.
Yep, I was just going to ask you to talk and just make sure we could hear you. So this is perfect.
Thank you.
Outstanding, Karen. Thank you.
Hi, those of you who had joined us. We will start in about 15 minutes. Good morning, everybody. I just wanted to welcome you to our next seminar. And today we're going to be introducing our latest product, the miniDISS Profiler and miniDT. I'll introduce Ken Caldwell, our presenter, in a couple minutes, but I just wanted to go over a couple of the housekeeping details first. Everyone will have their microphones muted for the presentation. You can write any questions throughout the presentation. If I could just ask you to please use the Q&A tab, which is on the bottom of your screen. It's next to the chat tab, but if you use the Q&A tab, then I can collate these at the end because we're going to give everybody written answers to all the questions as well in the next couple days. Ken is going to be joined by Nader Ari, and he's our key account manager for the western half of the United States, and Balint Cinco, who is our manager of technology development for the Q&A portion. Excuse me. I'm going to send you a link to the presentation and the recording a couple days following as well. It's going to come as a Ring Central, like an auto email. So it will include my email address if you have any questions, or if for some reason the email gets or the link gets blocked, or you have any issues downloading, you can contact me. Your Pion representative is also going to follow up just to make sure you were able to receive it and answer any questions for you. So let's get started. Ken is our product manager for instrumentation here at Pion. And prior to joining us, he held product management, product marketing, applications management positions for companies such as Spectro Scientific and Varian. So he has definitely managed analytical instrumentation product lines and components used in such industries and applications such as elemental and infrared spectrometers, particle analyzers, mass spec, and vacuum components. So with that, I will turn it over to Ken and we'll get started.
Welcome, everyone, to the product introduction of the miniDT dissolution tester and the miniDISS Profiler, a dissolution monitor that incorporates the miniDT with it. Today we'll cover the following items. First, a very short introduction to Pion and our product lines, followed by a presentation of the miniDT dissolution tester and the miniDISS Profiler. We'll cover product design and product features, look at the two options for instrument control, and then have a closer look at the technical specification and the various product configurations available, followed by Q&A. Firstly, a science-based company provides solutions for drug development industry with our innovative technology, scientific expertise, and support. Our products at Pion address the liberation of the drug from the dosage form and the absorption of the drug products into the blood. The first two elements, if you will, of the LADME acronym that describes the progress of a drug product to the body. Our company headquarters is in Billerica, Mass, just outside of Boston. This is our Center for Instrument Research and Development and Manufacturing, and also houses our US Applications Lab. We have an analytical services business, formerly Sirius Analytical, in Forest Row, UK, and our service operation is based in North Carolina. Pion provides innovative instrumentation, analytical services, and software in several core areas of expertise. Now, some of these are fairly well-established methodologies. Others, such as flux, are relatively new. The applications we address are in solubility, permeability, lipophilicity, ionization, flux, and of course, dissolution, the subject of today's webinar. Dissolution instruments form a core part of the Pion business. The instruments are shown in the table with a red outline. The dissolution instruments are in the red outline. I will reference these three instruments a little bit throughout the presentation. They are built around the core offer of the rainbow fiber optic. It's our dynamic dissolution monitor, which is an in situ fiber optic. We also have a miniDISS Profiler, which pairs the rainbow fiber optic with a very small volume, less than 25 milliliter media volume bath. And then finally, the subject of today's webinar in the middle there, the miniDISS Profiler, which pairs the new miniDT dissolution tester with the rainbow. So what is the miniDT? Well, the miniDT is an 8-position stirrer, small volume dissolution tester, designed for dissolution testing in biorelevant media volumes. Biorelevant being, well, the selection of the media, of course, is important, and also the initial volume. Use of the in vivo relevant volume makes the prediction of in vivo behavior much more reliable. The volume plays a crucial role. There's some aspects such as fast precipitation or prolonged supersaturation are dependent on the initial volume of media. So using the relevant volume makes the prediction much more reliable. Typically the range of 200 to 250 milliliters, more or less a glass of water, which is recommended with your old dosage, is the range of biorelevant volumes, though some are smaller. There's been some paper out of the last 2 years in the JPS, which gave a perspective on the industry's use of biorelevant dissolution tests. And the assessment was that biopharmaceutical risk and the ability to discriminate between different types of enabling technologies or formulations was important in order to be able to establish a rank order to facilitate formulation selection. So as a result, over the number of years where the drive for biorelevant testing has increased, Pion launched a product to develop a miniDT dissolution tester. So what does it provide you with? First and foremost, it introduces flexibility in small volume testing. We provide the instrument in 2 configurations. One is with 100 milliliter vessels, and the other is with a dedicated 250 milliliter vessel that's called out in the Chinese pharmacopoeia. So the instrument is either with one or the other. Now, the 100 milliliter system has interchangeable vessels where you can acquire standard 150 or 200 milliliter standard vessels And since they have the same diameter as the 100 milliliter vessel, you simply swap out the glassware when you want to change. If you start with one system and later decide that your needs are best served by the other type of system, for example, 100 milliliter to 250 milliliter, or vice versa, could change, the options can be converted in the field. A simple set of brackets are exchanged in new glassware, and depending upon your regulatory requirements, we could provide other services like a new installation qualification with that swap over as well. As a small volume tester, the miniDT can eliminate time-consuming swap-ups. If you're currently using, for example, a USB bath for both regular USP 1 and 2 tests, and you use a insert in order to get more biorelevant volumes, this will eliminate the need to make those changeovers. It's a very small footprint, 14 by 16 inches. So there's not much bench space required to install a miniDT next to your standard rainbow and dissolution bath. System design was to make for an easy usage, and especially if you wish to switch between the paddles to the optional baskets, which are available with the miniDT. It's a simple twist on, twist off to swap out the paddles and the upper shaft to replace it with the basket shaft and the paddles. We also offer a choice of heater options, an integrated immersion heater or an external heater circulator. Take a look at those in just a few minutes. The system is designed to be suitable for future compendial dissolution requirements. At this point, there are no small volume compendial specifications. However, the miniDT was designed so that it meets the USP 1 and 2 requirements for the accuracy of rotational speed, the shaft centerline tolerance, as well as wobble, and the 2 heater options we propose meet the temperature accuracy specification. So when we do get to a point, we expect to be able to have the miniDT meet this requirement. The miniDISS Profiler is this miniDT dissolution tester coupled with a rainbow fiber optic. The rainbow is available from configurations with the full 8-channel fiber optic to a 4-channel system. And these are independent diode arrays for in situ monitoring. The rainbow dynamic dissolution tester provides and characterizes the drug product release profile across time. The new miniDISS Profiler helps bridge the gap, if you will, between our other dissolution monitors. It works with a media volume between 40 and 250 milliliter, depending on glassware, as shown in the table below. It positions it between the full USP baths of 250 milliliters on up, and the microDISS, which works with media volumes less than 25 milliliters. So the miniDISS and the miniDT dissolution tester are really targeted for that range of biorelevant volumes. As a reference, let's as a starting point, look at the dissolution profile for a standard USB bath. This is with the standard USB prednisone test tablets. A 6-channel rainbow fiber optic is used to monitor the vessel, and this is the average of the 6 channels. The traditional paddle height of 25 millimeters and 50 RPM. So this can be considered it's the traditional typical chart for dissolution. Let's look at the miniDT comparison. This shows a 250 milliliter vessel. We use a paddle height of 15 millimeters. Again, it's the average of 6 channels. And the 50 RPM, the 100 and 150 RPM curves, you can see that there's a very significant change going from 50 RPM to 100 RPM due to changes in the hydrodynamics, and not so significant of a change with the increment from 100 to 150 RPM. We set up the paddle height here for 15 millimeters. In the literature, people have referenced both 15 millimeter paddle heights as well as 10 millimeter paddle heights for early work on small volume testing. The 100 milliliter vessel, same rotational speeds, same 15 millimeter paddle height. You can see that there's more of a consistent change between 50, 100, and 150, showing equivalent magnitudes of shift, if you will, in the hydrodynamics between these three speed ranges. Finally, I mentioned that we had both 15 and 10 millimeter paddle height in the literature. This shows a comparison for a single vessel. This one is the 100 milliliter vessel, and it's rotating at 100 RPM. And it shows that the gray curve on top is the 10 millimeter height, and the green curve on the bottom is the 15. And the conclusion from this curve and the preceding ones, you can say that the miniDT is well suited for method development, where you can adjust the paddle height and the rotational speed. As I mentioned, there's published literature on small volume vessels using both 10 and 15 millimeter paddle heights. We supply the miniDT with depth positioners with calibrated balls for both 10 millimeter and 15 millimeters in order to support the method development. So a little bit about the design of the miniDT. It's an 8-position stirring system with a single drive. That means all shafts rotate at the same speed. The immersion heater is an optional, available in several voltage versions, 115, 230, 240. You set the temperature on the heater itself. It has an internal temperature measurement on the heater itself to regulate. We supply the basic unit with paddles. There are baskets available as options. The paddles and baskets, as well as the shafts and vessels, are serialized for future traceability. There's an LCD display at the top, which displays the speed and temperature. Rotary selector switch can be used to set up for the speed and temperature and time intervals. I'll talk a little bit more about the options in terms of control the miniDT. And finally, there's ports for temperature probes. One for the miniDT, which comes as part of the unit. That's the temperature probe that would integrate with the Pion AUPRO software. And one for an external heater circulator if you selected that option, where you would take the probe we provide with the heater circulator and put that into the bath to regulate the heated bath temperature. Two options then for software and control of the miniDT. The first I'll go over is the use of the AUPRO software. The miniDT interface requires version 6 of the software of AUPRO, or there's also the ability to operate the miniDT from the front panel as an independent dissolution tester. So let's go over first the features of the integration with the AUPRO software. In the global settings in AUPRO, there's now a stir selection where you could either have, in the past, there'd be just the MB8, where that's our mini bath that's used as part of the microdisc controller, where you could control your stirring settings there. Now we allow you to select also now the miniDT, which if you select that, all the assay parameters will use the miniDT default values, not the MB8 default values. There's two ways in AUPRO to use the miniDT. The first is to simply set it up in the stirring control dialog box. What this shows then is you set your stirring speed RPM, a delay time if desired, your target temperature, and then you apply limits to both the RPM and to the temperature. So what you can see in the red box is that the one on top is the RPM. It's displaying the set point RPM here as shown as 50 RPM, the actual reached, which is 49.7, and the allowable deviation. For USB guidelines, we have it in as 2%. And what this is showing is that the current deviation is with a 49.7 actual is only 0.6%. So you're well within your 2% tolerance. The second red box shows the temperature control, where again, you set your temperature and then it displays your set point temperature. Here it's shown as 45°C, and then the actual measured temperature from that temperature probe that's provided with the miniDT, and that's 45.2. So again, with a limit of 1 degree C as a deviation and an actual 0.2, it's within limit. If the system exceeds those limits you set, there will be a warning message that's displayed. It'll be around the status bar along the back as well as the screen. And you also have a display of the stir speed and bath temperature throughout the dissolution run. You can also integrate the miniDT in the standard AUPRO assay flow. In this case, you'd go to the task editor, select the assay type, in this case, of course, it's dissolution, and then set up your properties in terms of the component name, potency, molecular purity, water volume, etc., probe path length, all the standard setup you would have currently with your Rainbow. Simply then set those parameters up, select next to go to the stirring setup, and there you would then make those settings in terms of RPM, temperature, the deviation limits, whether you wanted to have an automatic start or a manual start. And then we've incorporated the ability to program a burst speed and a burst time, where at the end of your run, it'll over rev, if you will, increase the rotation in order to make dissolution of all the API. After you make that setup, you then simply select next to define then the data collection, the sampling interval for the fiber optic system, and then start your assay. So it very much is like the exact same implementation, if you will, that we've put into the MB8 in terms of the AUPRO software. The one new additional feature is that ability to program the burst software, the burst rotational speed. Run your experiment. During the experimental data being acquired, you can view the stirrer control and review the speed profile and the bath temperature profile during the actual measurement. There's also the ability to, as part of running with AUPRO, there's a log report, and the miniDT, all the data in the stir report, RPM, temperature, time, each point, each data point is labeled as to whether it's in or out of range based upon the limits that you set. And then this information is part of the export all data file out of the AUPRO software. I mentioned earlier that while the miniDT was designed to work with the AUPRO software, it is possible to operate it as a standalone dissolution tester, probably very like you operate most of your dissolution baths. The control is done by a rotary selector knob on the front, which lets you scroll through the displayed items on the LCD display. From this, you would do such things as set your RPM, your test time. You can adjust your data log interval. What you can also do is save these methods once you've created them onto an external drive, and then subsequently load them from an external drive to make additional runs. The data log is saved in an XML format on an external drive and then can be parsed from there. So the miniDT is a full functioning, completely independent dissolution tester. Some of the product options. First, the heaters. I mentioned the immersion heater, which is pretty innovative portion. It has some nice technical features and that it allows for a wider control range, 25 to 50 C. It is rated for continuous duty, continuous operation of the heater for up to 10,000 hours. Nominal 1200 watt heater. The other option is a, two other options would be this heater circulator, which we provide. It has a control range between 30 and 45 C and is suitable for continuous duty operation. If you run a kind of lab where you just like to plug equipment in and have it run nonstop, you would probably opt for something like this. The third option, of course, would be to supply your own heater circulator if you have them in your lab already. A reminder, the miniDT comes with a temperature probe, so it's fully autonomous in that respect. So the scope of supply with the miniDT, there's a dissolution tester was mentioned with either 100 milliliter or 250 milliliter vessels. That includes a quantity of 8-inch of the paddles and the shafts with vessels and vessel covers and the depth positioner. Again, the paddles, shafts, and vessels are serialized. The options are the heaters I mentioned, baskets and basket shafts. Again, the units provided with paddles and baskets are optional. And for the 100 milliliter system, you could also purchase 150 milliliter or 200 milliliter vessels. Again, they all have a standard diameter. They can all be used with the existing hardware brackets on the system. And of course, the software. The miniDISS Profiler, again, it's specified with either a 100 milliliter vessel or a 250 milliliter vessel. So it includes that 8-position miniDT tester with the appropriate vessels and a rainbow fiber optic system. Again, you specify whether you want 4, 6, 7, or 8 channels on your fiber optic. Each system then comes with the appropriate number of fiber optic probes and probe tips, one set of each per channel. And it requires the AUPRO version 6 software to interface with the miniDT. Same options as are available with the miniDT. For the fiber optic, you also have standardization stations for the optic probes, and other probe tip sizes are available as well. So the product has been released for sale. It's now active up on the Pion website. If you go to our scientific instruments page, you'll see a section on dissolution. And the miniDISS Profiler is up there with our other core dissolution products, which are, again, the microDISS Profiler, the miniDISS Profiler, and the Rainbow fiber optic system, as well as the SDI2 system for surface imaging during the dissolution process. So also you can download from the website. If you register, you can download the product brochure. And of course, we're available for questions and you can contact us. And I'd like to now open it up for questions, Karen.
Yeah, thanks, Ken. I see a couple questions have come through. So I think, Nader, you've been writing those down or capturing them.
Hello, everyone. This is Nader Ari. Yes, I have been capturing those questions, and I'll go ahead and go through some of them right now. Ken, the first question is: was the prednisolone data generated with a rainbow?
Yes, it was. It was generated with a Rainbow 6-channel fiber optic.
Thank you. Next question is, when would you recommend the use of the immersion heater versus the external heater?
I kind of like the immersion heater. Again, the only technical difference in terms of operating environment would be there's a limit of 10,000 hours, which is a really long time. It's a little bit over a year, right? But you can only operate the immersion heater for 10,000 hours. If you have a lab where you want to run things continuously, you would probably then want the heater circulator tucked into a bench somewhere. And but you know, there's a cost differential of about 3x between the two options, with the immersion heater being the lower cost option. So you get a wider temperature range with the immersion heater. It's a lower cost option, and it's a sleeker, elegant package that doesn't take up any more like footprint as an external one would do. So I like the immersion heater.
Great. Next question is the MiniDISS 21 CFR Part 11 compliant? I'll let Balint answer that question.
Hello everyone, this is Pion Shinko, and so Pion's CFR 21 compliant software is dissolution, and the dissolution is obviously it's the compliant version of AUPRO. So we have integrated the miniDT with AUPRO as the small volume dissolution is at the moment not USB compliance, not specified, but as soon as this is progressing, or as soon as we see the demand, the dissolution will be compatible with the miniDT.
Thanks, Balint. Next question is also for Balint. Where is the basket located, above or below the paddle? So
as Ken has said, but he hasn't included a photo for that. The basket is on the basket shaft, which is a separate shaft. So it's not on the pedal. It's not above or below the pedal. It's a separate shaft, and which holds the basket in the suitable position.
Thanks. Next question is also probably for you, Balint. Can you describe the vessel's lid configuration?
So basically, we will have one vessel for the 100 mil, 100, 150, 200 mil diameter vessels, and another one for the 250 for the China vessel style, which is a slightly bigger diameter. And all of these vessels will be capable of holding the fiber optic probe in position, and also has a separate hole for sampling or sample addition or media addition or whatever operations needs to be done during the assay or in the beginning of the assay. So those going to be the available vessel covers.
Great. Ken, this next question is for you. When is the miniDT available? Can I buy it now?
Well, yeah, first shipments are next month. So we're in production now for the first production lots of it. And so, yeah, delivery next month, July.
Fantastic. Next question is this compatible with the BioFlux?
I can take this question. So the BioFlux has been designed on a big bath dissolution platform. So we are in the process of making some adjustments of it. So many components of the BioFlux will be usable with the system, but a few items are new and are miniDT specific. So those needs to be added.
Thank you. Next question, are there peak vessels available for the miniDT to prevent product coning occurring under the paddles?
I would say that while we don't supply them directly, that it's pretty standard glassware that would fit.
Yes, actually the current offering are hemispherical vessels, and But yeah, if we see the need, we will certainly have peak vessel options.
Very good. Very good. I think that's all of the questions that I see populated in our Q&A session. One more question just popped up. I have a AUPRO 5.5. Will this work with it?
Well, you can certainly operate your fiber optic independent of your miniDT and run your miniDT as a standalone unit if you had 5.5. But I would encourage you to upgrade to version 6, which would provide that level of integration and control that I showed in some of the earlier slides. So you need to upgrade. The minimum version is version 6 for miniDT.
Okay, one more question. Can we use it for nano formulations?
I think that's a Balint question.
Yeah,
Yes.
I mean, as soon as the fiber optic system is capable, I mean the API is suitable for UV analysis, then I don't see why you would not be able to use this system. So it's probably a yes, but I would need to see some more details on the formulation, or rather on the API.
Okay. Can you operate the miniDT using zero intercept method analysis? It was the ZIM method.
Yes, that again depends on the AUPRO license. So if the AUPRO 6 is configured with a standard license, which has the ZIM functionality, then yes, it can be used again the same way as you would use on a MB8 or in any other condition with the rainbow.
Okay, I don't see any more questions coming through. Thank you, Balint, and thank you, Ken.
Thanks there.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and thank you everyone for joining us. We really appreciate your time. Again, you'll get a recorded version of the presentation, and if you have any trouble downloading, just let us know, and we can send slides to you in PDF format as well as PowerPoint. So thanks again, and we really appreciate your time.